What characterizes the essence of a city? Is it its culture, its people, or its capacity to survive and thrive throughout the ages? These kinds of queries are common in London, the center of Britain. This city has endured fire, pestilence, battle, and change throughout the ages, emerging stronger and more lively each time. As a city where history and modernity coexist together, it now represents resiliency and reinvention. Let's start our journey from the beginning, when the Romans founded Londinium in 43 AD. More than merely a community, Londinium served as a gateway to Britannia due to its location on the banks of the Thames. Imagine busy Roman ships unloading commodities and jewels from all around the empire as they land at the river. This little walled city prospered for a while, reaching 60,000 residents by the 2nd century. However, London's fortunes fluctuated, just like those of every great city. The streets of Londinium were quiet for decades while the Roman Empire fell apart. However, London is not a city that remains silent for very long. It had regained its position as England's biggest town by the 11th century. Westminster Abbey's development during this period represented its newly discovered significance. Imagine monks toiling over stone sculptures to construct a venue that would serve as the backdrop for England's most memorable events, including state funerals, royal marriages, and coronations. Queen Elizabeth II's funeral was held in the Abbey most recently, signaling the end of an era for a queen who shaped contemporary British identity. The Palace of Westminster, the seat of the UK government, is just next door. Its recognizable clock tower, which is often confused with Big Ben, serves as a reminder of London's position as a major political force in the world. The City of London, a ceremonial area that has served as a financial center for centuries, is also nearby. London has long been the center of world trade, from the Royal Exchange, where traders historically exchanged silk and spices, to the tall skyscrapers of Canary Wharf. However, history isn't always favorable. One of London's worst periods began in 1666. A little bakery on Pudding Lane caught fire when the city was still recuperating from the Great Plague, which had killed over 1/5 of its population. High winds dispersed the flames across the medieval city during the course of the next 4 days, turning 90 churches, 13,000 dwellings, and even St. Paul's Cathedral to ash. Can you picture the mayhem? The roar of flames devouring wooden structures, families running out with what they could take, and the once familiar streets turning to smoke. However, a new London sprang from the ashes of this tragedy. Architects presented audacious proposals to reconstruct the city with opulent boulevards and contemporary styles. Brick and stone, which are fire-resistant, were used in the reconstructed city, although the ancient street layout was mostly preserved. People like Christopher Wren, whose layout of St. Paul's Cathedral became a masterwork of faith and resiliency, were also born out of this catastrophe. In the 17th century, a different type of revolution, one using ideas rather than swords and crowns, was in the making. London's coffee shops become hubs for discussion and thinking. Imagine the commotion of authors writing their next great masterpieces, scientists formulating theories, and traders negotiating trade routes. Here, thinkers like John Locke and Isaac Newton shared ideas, fostering the Enlightenment and influencing contemporary philosophy and science. The world's largest insurance market, Lloyd's of London, was founded in one coffee shop, Edward Lloyd's. What began as a forum for merchants to learn about shipping news has become into a vital component of the world economy. With the founding of the Bank of England in 1694, this innovative attitude spread to the financial sector and solidified London's position as the global economic hub. London expanded rapidly as the Industrial Revolution gained momentum. It was the biggest metropolis in the world by 1831, but its expansion also brought with it enormous difficulties. The city's lifeblood, the Thames, had turned into an open sewer that was bringing misery and illness. In order to protect the city from its own garbage, the innovative engineer Joseph Basil Jett created a contemporary sewage system. In addition to enhancing public health, his work established a benchmark for urban planning. Innovation in transportation was equally noteworthy. The way people traveled about the city was completely changed in 1863, when the first subterranean railway in history was completed. This network, now known as the London Underground, is growing and connects millions of Londoners and tourists to all parts of the city. London is facing additional difficulties today. Residents' fortitude is put to the test by a housing crisis and growing living expenses. The city's infrastructure is under danger from climate change, and residences along the Thames are particularly vulnerable to increasing water levels. But London is changing, as it always does. Floods are prevented by engineering wonders like the Thames Barrier, and discussions about sustainability in green areas suggest that the city cherishes its future just as much as its history. London is a city of contradictions, old and new, disorderly and orderly, traditional and forward-thinking. Every corner has a tale to tell. The future shines in its tall buildings, while the past echoes through its cobblestone streets. What, then, is the essence of a city? For London, it's the capacity to persevere, adjust, and motivate. It's a city that serves as a reminder that excellence is about perseverance and getting back up after being knocked down a lot. Thank you for watching, and until we meet again.